Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Brent here with Johnson RV here in Medford, Oregon, and right next to me, I'm my counterpart.
I'm Colby, Johnson RV Medford, Oregon.
And today I want to talk a little bit about the growth in the RV industry, specifically with the van segment. So I think a common misconception with the vans, at least it was for me when I first started, is the versatility. You know, I think there's a lot of people that think that these things are only built for one or two people, you know, not family oriented at all. And I think we're going to debunk that for you a little bit here today. So with all these pop-up van companies, because there's a ton of them nowadays, just with the growth of the van community, I think we're going to touch base really heavily on why outside van is different. And that's where Colby's going to come into play here. So Colby, like you, I have a family, right? So I have kids. Most of the vans that I see, you know, I would say probably don't fit a whole lot of people. So that would, I'd think in my mind that, you know, I'm not going to find anything out there. But this approach here is something different.
Absolutely.
You know?
It's the first one that I know of on the market that was a true sleep for, seatbelt for, which is absolutely amazing. Like Brent said earlier, it's mainly the van market is tailored towards a couple, maybe two people, even if that. Sometimes you only get one sleeper in there. But nice thing about this approach, you can seatbelt 4 people comfortably and you can sleep 4 people comfortably. Tons of space, very good usability in this van. Got tons of great features as well, and I'd love to tell you all about them.
So you're saying as a floor plan itself that this outside van approach could really accommodate a family of 4 people pretty easily. Now, if I like backpacking, hiking, hunting, fishing, you know, there's a lot of gear and cargo that goes into all that. And I'm assuming most of our customers kind of live that same kind of lifestyle that want to dabble in the venture van market.
Absolutely. And like I heard from Outside Van when they were talking about this at the show last one I went to, building one of these vans is a battle of inches. So every little inch is going to count. So they pretty much load this thing with storage capability. You got a roof rack on here. You got a side mount ladder. You can mount more stuff to that. There's tons of different accessories you can do to get more storage as well. Okay. If you want something.
Because you know
like
you hunt as well as I do, so those big old totes and everything, the yellow bins, and those things are big.
Absolutely.
You know, and I need to take 3 or 4 of those elk hunting every year. But so that's awesome.
And another cool thing about the versatility of this, I mean, is if you only wanted to bring 2 people with you and you want a little more storage space, these 2 captain chairs just bolt right out. So they come right out, you take the top bed out too, so you just have the twin bed set up or a full bed in the back.
So if we could ditch our wives and immediately just go out, we can just take these chairs out and have all the storage in the room.
Absolutely, all the storage.
I love that. So I kind of touched base a little bit earlier about all these pop-up manufacturers, right? And you mentioned outside van. Why outside van specifically? Like what, quality-wise, I mean, where do you think they really shine?
So I'm glad you asked about that, is because when a lot of people are looking for B vans, not a lot of people have heard about Outside Van. But the cool thing about Outside Van is they've been building custom vans for almost 20 years now in the Portland area, which is a long, long time in this van segment.
Long time.
They're pretty much one of the originals on the vans. Okay. They custom build towards your needs, and they use that R&D for their production style vans. This is their first production van that they've released yet. Released about a couple years ago, and they really took the market by storm. Just their fit and finish and their attention to detail is amazing, especially with an adventure van. You don't really see that a lot in an adventure van market, is the fit, finish, and attention to detail.
Right, it's all the stuff you can't see.
Right? Exactly.
Because you go walk through some of these vans and everything, and they all kind of look, I mean, very similar. I mean, if you go through a lot of these, especially on the 144s, I mean, all the floor plans are pretty much cookie cutter, it's just a different sticker on the side, right?
Right, there's only so many things you do with a 20-foot rectangle, right?
Yeah, okay.
So Outside Van, they like to do something a little different too. All their models, they're not the cookie cutter models where you see one and it looks just like the other manufacturers. They made something completely different. You can see it's an Outside Van before you even step in it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely for sure. And these seats too. I mean, these seats are the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in inside of an adventure van.
Absolutely.
Now, do they build these in-house?
They do. They build these in-house. They build most of their stuff in-house, which is awesome too.
So they're a true manufacturer.
They're a true manufacturer. They're not an assembler.
Okay.
Like a lot of companies out there are assembling these vans, where they're actually manufacturing these vans.
Gotcha. What about like if I want to add accessories and stuff like that? How easy is it to do with these?
Oh, very, very easy. I mean, these things are kind of like the Honda Civic of B vans nowadays. Is you can pretty much put anything you can think of on these things. It's crazy how many accessory companies are popping up. Yeah. You got Owl Van, you got Canyon Van Adventures, all that type of stuff. All those accessories pretty much bolt right
cargo racking that you want to store in the back, you can definitely do so very easily. And we do all that stuff here at Johnson RV as well. We have a whole van upfitting department. so we can help our customers get set up with anything and everything they need to suit their off-road adventures and kind of get out there.
Absolutely.
But touching on a little bit more about the outside van specifically, so you know, the biggest question I know I get asked all the time, and I'm sure you do as well, is how big is the battery bank system? How long can I run my AC for? You know, what kind of suspension? So I mean, in your opinion and your experience, like, what can you tell us about the approach? So
you got a 1,000 amp hour lithium battery system from Volta, 48 volt, so that's completely matched to just about everything in here. It is very, very easy to use. Completely off the grid, 3,000 watt inverter, so you can run everything off just the battery power. You don't have to be plugged in. Secondary alternator that's also a 48 volt too. That's designed just for charging this battery system back up while you're driving down the road.
So that's just for the lithium battery side of it, you're saying?
Correct.
So you also have the Mercedes alternator charger, crank battery and everything, you're saying?
Correct.
But you're saying there's also a 280 amp secondary alternator just for the lithium battery bank system?
Correct, and that's actually voltage matched to the battery system, so you don't have to convert that down or anything like that, so it's super fast charging.
And solar, I'm assuming, yes?
Yep, you got solar on board. It comes with a 90 watt solar panel, but you can get more solar if you wanted to. It's just if you add more solar to this, then you lose a lot of storage capabilities on that roof rack.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
not a lot of people are adding solar, but it does have a solar quick connect right here that you can plug right in to the solar system right in here. So,
under the seat, huh?
Under the seat.
That's pretty awesome, because you just see them like somewhere on the side, you know, it's kind of gaudy and bulky looking.
Right, make it a little sleeker that way.
And that's one thing I've noticed about the approach too, is it's very sleek looking on the exterior.
Absolutely, they don't like cutting a lot of holes in these things too. So it is RVIA certified, so with that being said, they do have to put the water hose and stuff like that, water entry on the outside and stuff like that, but they like to cut at least amount of holes in these vans as possible.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think I noticed most about the outside van when we first started getting them, is just how clean overall the exterior look is of them, you know, not
Absolutely.
a whole lot of extra stuff on the outside. One thing I love too about these is the steps. So I don't think I've ever seen these on another van, but these are actual power steps.
You got powered amp steps, so you get a little more clearance than you normally do.
Yeah, that's
and
incredible.
another thing I want to point out that I love about these amp steps, you get a nice flat foot spot. A lot of other manufacturers, they put different steps on here, and you don't really get a flat foot spot on here. It gets a little sketchy stepping in and out of the van so often.
So why do you suppose nobody else does this?
Cost.
Really?
Cost. These amp steps are very expensive. Not a lot of manufacturers are going to add that extra cost on there.
No, I mean, I think it looks awesome and very functional, and it gives you the extra clearance you need. And then that kind of ties right into the overall exterior look, up to the wheels, tires, the suspension. So Fox suspension, I know a lot of manufacturers just use factory Mercedes suspension. So why are they using Fox?
So using Fox is a little upgrade. So one thing that the Fox Agile suspension does, it gives you a little more rigidity. It also, in the back here, one of the weak points on these Mercedes vans is right here where the suspension mounts. It's not bracketed right from the factory, so they end up shearing those bolts right there where that strut is mounted to the frame itself. So the Agile kit gives you that rigidity and that support backing to where it's not going to shear that bolt. Oh,
that's smart. So everything that they do is very thought out and planned.
Like I said, they've been doing it for a long time. They have it dialed.
And rocker rings, right?
So yeah, this is their custom wheel right here. It's called their Apex wheel. You got a custom rock ring right here that is removable. So if someone does scratch that or they want to customize it and change that color up a little bit, makes it a little easier to do. Also, you have dual valve stems.
That's huge.
That's huge, and not a lot of people are talking about that. So what the dual valve stems gives you is you can air this thing down, you can air these tires down, air them back up without messing up your TPMS sensors. If you do that so often with just single valve stems, it'll mess up your tire pressure monitoring system.
Okay.
So it's nice having those dual valve stems, and they went up that, and they gave you an onboard air compressor.
That's be my next question, is how do I air up and down my tires?
With 3 air chucks. You got an air chuck on the front under the hood.
Okay.
You got an air chuck on the side right here, so you just spray out this coach. You don't even have to vacuum it or sweep it or anything. And you got one in the back too.
So again, all very well thought out. Everything has a rhyme and a reason to it. Now I noticed that they're not really cutting corners anywhere, and everything that seems to be very top-notch and high end. I mean, even down to the roll-lift screens that they're using.
Absolutely, from Canada. Yeah, these are very high-end screens. They got completely magnet right here. You can Velcro them out, so if you have a bigger dog, you don't want it coming out, you Velcro it right there, and they're not gonna get through
awesome.
that. Pretty cool little feature.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember seeing this when it was dark outside, when it was in our showroom, right? And we had all the lights on in here, all the screens down, and you couldn't see a thing inside of this van.
Absolutely, not a thing.
So completely blacked out.
And another cool thing is Outside Van actually orders their chassis custom from Mercedes without this rear window.
Why is that?
For privacy.
Okay.
And more insulation. When you have a window, anytime you have a window, you're gonna lose some insulation. So they give you a little more insulation in there and a little more privacy as well.
So is it safe to say that somebody like myself, my wife, the kids, who like snowboarding, going to the mountain, you like snowboarding, right? That insulation is probably going to be very important, right?
Huge. Insulation is huge.
So any customer on the market for a van that wants to go up to the mountains, cold weather, inclement kind of camping, then this might be something they want to look at.
Absolutely.
What about the interior wall paneling, insulation, stuff like that? What do they do for that?
So it is a CNC foam. So they're actually laser measuring all the empty spaces right there and then having that foam cut to fill that specific spot.
Okay.
They're also using a galvanized steel backing as well on here too. So they're actually, their subframe is they're not just taking the Mercedes shell and bolting everything to that. They're actually providing a galvanized steel subframe where everything's threaded in there too. So they're not just using the self-tapping screws that it just fits in once and then you got to use a bigger screw next time if you want it to go in.
So everything's completely reinforced on the interior, and that probably limits road noise and stuff too, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. So they designed this van to go off the road, completely off the road, off the grid, and then hop back on the road and still just be very quiet.
Okay. Now, I know we talked a little bit about lighting, right? Because you go in some back roads, dark areas, and no street lights or anything.
Yep.
Tell me about the S-Pod, exterior lighting, and stuff like that.
So they got tons of exterior lighting. As you can see, you got two out here on the side right here.
Yeah, we got some on the bumper too, which is really cool.
Two on the bumper, you got a giant one right here. These are all rigid lights, so all high-end lights.
Okay.
And it's all controlled through an S-Pod. So what that S-Pod does is it actually gives you a mobile app, so you can control everything through that mobile app.
And why do they wrap the hood?
So they wrap the hood to prevent the sun glare. They found out very quickly with these Mercedes, it's really shiny paint, and the angle of that hood, if the sun bounces off of it, it's coming right back in your face.
Gotcha. And from what I remember as well, as far as their heating system and your hot water system, and this is supposed to be one of the more efficient systems.
Absolutely.
Right?
But it is a diesel-fired hot water heater and furnace as well. So very, very efficient. Basically just sips the diesel fuel, so you don't use a whole lot.
Like a teaspoon an hour or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very efficient.
And as far as, okay, sleeping arrangements, I mean, I've talked to a lot of customers that are 6'3", 6'4", you know, and sleeping east to west in the window flares and some of those 144 specifically.
Only gives you so much space.
They're very tight, right?
Very
so
tight.
I noticed this bed system in here looks quite a bit bigger.
Yep, it's actually a true north to south bed, so this is probably one of the biggest beds in the B-van market right now. You got bunk beds set up top and then twin beds on the bottom, and it's full length right there too.
Okay.
So you'd have no problems with your taller people at all.
And I noticed all the L-track system in the back too, so you can tie down other accessories.
Absolutely. Tons of mounting options on the inside.
And stuff like that, the soft shell bags. And
yep.
Everything's done very, very high end. Like you said, custom van manufacturer, 20 plus years experience. Now, anybody coming in off the street with limited to no knowledge of vans, outside vans specifically, like, is there anything else that you think we missed that you think they should know about this before they step on the inside?
Well, like I said earlier, just the fit and finish. I mean, take the time to actually peel apart everything and really look at the cabinetry, how it closes, how it shuts, the hinges. Talk to your salesman about the insulation, the wiring. I mean, this thing's very easy to do anything on. To get to the wiring system, to get to the battery system, you and I can do it without any tools.
That's great.
So we could get to it, so it makes it the use very easy to do.
So
it also saves you money later on too if you do have some issues. You know, I spend a lot of labor time, labor cost, people pulling panels off and stuff to get to stuff.
Yeah, so it's all
everything
very
just
accessible.
very easy and accessible. Yep.
No, that's
absolutely.
awesome. Well, I think we hit a lot of good high notes today. If anybody has any question about outside van, Colby here is actually the #1 outside van sales rep in the country right now, which
for
is incredible.
2024. We'll see if we can hold it for 2025.
I'm sure it's going to be fine. So again, if you have any questions, come see us, Johnson RV in Medford. Ask for myself, Brent, or ask for Colby. We'll be happy to help you out.
Have a great day.